Greetings from Grace Ministries, also known as Trinitarian Grace International, and today is what's known as our Tuesday Talk. Today's Tuesday, February the 6th, 2024, and I hope that you're doing well if you're watching this or listening to it. And today, I'm going to use the Living Bible, and I'm going to be in John 1, 13 through 1 through 8, and in Matthew 26, 31 through 35. We're going to talk about Jesus and what's known as the Last Supper, and where he washed the disciples' feet, and the comments he made, and how sometimes they're taken out of context. And I'm just going to try to give you kind of my viewpoint on those scriptures and on how I feel about that. But anyway, thank you so much for helping support this ministry if you do, because we do have people that help us out like that so we can uh, help some of our folks that are in faraway places who are need help with money and food, and we do a lot with a little, and we hope that you feel led to help us in those efforts. But today, let me start out with John 13, 1 through 8, and I'm going to kind of walk through it. Like I said, this is from the Living Bible. John 1, John 13, verse 1, and we'll go on. Jesus knew on the evening of Passover day that it would be his last night on earth before returning to his Father. During supper, the devil had already suggested to Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, that this was the night to carry out his plan to betray Jesus. We all know that story. Jesus knew that the Father had given him everything, that he had come from God and would return to God. Jesus knew that he was God, that God had given him everything. That's a way of saying that he is God. He was God. He is God. And how he loved his disciples. Jesus, have you ever thought about this group of men that he pulled together as those 12 disciples was known? I mean, a radical, somebody radical like Peter, and fisherman, and a tax collector, uh, all kind of people, and they were not well known. They were not high up in society. He pulled them together. And guess what? They were human like you and I. He says how he loved his disciples. And if you'll think about it, we are his disciples, and we are loved as well. So he got up from the supper table, took off his robe, wrapped a towel around his loins, poured water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with a towel he had around. When he came to Simon Peter, Simon said to him, Master, you shouldn't be washing our feet like this. Jesus replied, You don't understand now why I am doing it. Someday you will. No, Peter protested. You shall never wash my feet. Jesus replied, But if I don't, you can't be my partner. So, what do you get out of that? Jesus is offering to do what in that day, that was the job of a servant of any home or household or synagogue or to because everybody walked around barefooted or with sandals and their feet got dirty and dusty, and they would normally were washed by the servant. Usually, I would say the lowest job for the servant that is way down the list. Jesus took on the role of servant, And he was saying, you don't understand now what I'm doing. Someday you will. Jesus was washing their feet. Went on. Peter says, we just need to wash my whole body then. And Jesus told him, basically, you've already bathed, but your feet's all that needs cleaning. He's making a point. I'm serving you. I'm setting an example for you to serve others. I heard this put this one time with someone in a sermon that they did, and I really liked the way they put it. They talked about, Jesus washing the feet, and some of us, I do, I've washed feet in a ceremony, and nothing magical, but it's humbling to wash someone's feet and allow your feet to be washed. But what really is washing feet? Have you ever helped someone in need? I mean, really in need, and you did for them? That was a form of washing their feet. Have you ever been kind to a stranger? Ran up on them and you just felt like you should do something for them, or whatever it is you did, you were kind to them. Because if you're like me, I know there's times when I haven't, I may catch myself not being kind or being rigid or whatever. But there's been times when I found myself being kind to someone, even though I didn't know them and I wasn't expecting anything in return. That was a form of washing their feet. Have you ever went out of your way to help someone in need, financially, physically helping them in some way? I know my wife and I, we've done things to help others. We've helped, I'm not going to point it out, but we have. And we was washing their feet when they done that. But I've been the recipient of that many times. People have helped me financially. People have given me things. People have helped with this ministry. And I felt like they were humbling themselves and washing my feet. Matthew 26:31-35. Jesus said to them, same night he's talking to them, after all this is going on, he says, tonight you will all desert me. For it is written in scriptures that God will smite the shepherd and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. He's talking about him. He's the shepherd and he'll be smited. The flock, his disciples, and all that followed after him would scatter. But after I've been brought back to life again, I will go to Galilee and meet you there. He's saying, hey, I'm going to get killed, but I'm going to come back and I'll meet you in Galilee. What do you think? They're probably like, what? Peter declared, if everyone else deserts you, I won't. That reminds you of you? Does that remind you of yourself? Have you ever been like, hey, buddy, we're just like this. You can count on me. Jesus told him, the truth is that this very night, the cock crows at dawn, you will deny me 3 times. In other words, before the rooster crows in the morning, you'll have denied me 3 times. That's what he's telling Peter. I would die first, Peter insisted. And all the other disciples said the same thing. My people never heard that part. They all said that. But Peter got pointed out. Peter was one that, when they were having the Last Supper, he was the one who's going to be first in the kingdom. You're going to leave. basically who's going to be in charge? The human side now. All we're arguing about who are going to be in charge. Peter says, I won't deny you, not me, because I'm the guy that he cut the guy's ear off in the garden when they came to arrest Jesus. Jesus healed them and told him, no, put away your sword. That's not how we're going to do this. We're going to overcome with love. Peter denied knowing Jesus that night 3 times. And why did he do it? Out of fear. And we're told to fear not. But don't we do it? We fear. He was afraid. Jesus was being beaten and scourged and getting ready to them to crucify him. Peter could see that being done there in the courtyard. The crown of thorns, I think, and all that. He was terrified. He was afraid. And he denied Jesus. Haven't we all done that sometimes out of fear? Out of fear, haven't we went the wrong way when we should have went the right way because of fear? Because we're afraid? Because we're afraid of what? What is the ultimate thing that we're afraid of? The biggest thing we humans are afraid of is death. We fear death. And why? And we're told not to fear death. Psalm 23, it says, yea, ye even though I walk through the valley of the valley, the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Even when I know I'm passing away, even when I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death coming around me, I'm not trying to be gloomy. I'm just trying to point out that we're told, fear no evil. Fear not. Jesus said, they're going to kill me. In this one here, he says, but after I've been brought back to life again, just plain up saying it in this translation, I will go to Galilee and meet you there. After they kill me and bury me, I'm going to come back to life and I'll meet you in Galilee and I'll spend time with you and we'll talk and we'll meditate and we'll discuss things for you to do after I'm gone. Ascend to the right hand of my Father. I will also be leaving the Spirit. The Spirit of God will come and rejuvenate you. The Spirit will be rejuvenated in you, and you will be led on the right path. Look at the map behind me. That's the whole world laid out flat. Like Africa is right behind my head here. South America, North America, Canada, all the whole world is laid out. Look at it like that. We are one big family. We have different customs at these different places. We have different ethnic groups. We have different color of skin. We have different languages. Yet we're all children of God. We're all one big family. So when you decide that you want to be immersed in and walk with the presence of God, the presence of the Father, Son, and Spirit inside of you, let us wash feet. Let us wash feet all the time. Good deeds, not to be a performer, not to get God to do stuff for us. Do it in a humble yourself and wash feet. And how do we do that? We are kind and loving and do good deeds for one another. This is for the truest form of washing one another's feet. As Jesus said in this scripture, in this translation, when he was washing their feet, he said, "You don't understand now why I'm doing it." That was then. Someday you will. I think today we understand. If we take time to understand, we understand that being kind and doing for those in need and putting others first and loving and not fearing, but realize that there is no fear in love. We will be known as true men and women of God, followers of Jesus Christ. Be a true foot washer. Amen.